Hello and welcome to episode 131 of No Load Time. My name is Jovet Velez, and with me, still surviving, is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good? No low time. Episode 131, Obed. 131. No,
131. What's happening,
another.
dude?
Yeah, man, doing well.
Still doing good? Still surviving?
I'm still surviving. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to shave off the apocalypse beard at some point soon.
I dreamed it off last week. It was getting gnarly.
Yeah, I think it's gonna
Yeah.
have to go soon, mine. So I feel you there.
Yeah. I,
Um,
I can tell. Yeah,
yeah,
look
you
at
see, you
you.
see it's getting
Got
scruffy.
yeah. Got a little man over there. I'm sorry. A gentleman.
Oh, there it is. There it is. The most
Uh,
interesting man.
yeah, there you go.
That's how the intro start. No,
Yeah.
bro, I'm good. I'm good, man. I've not. I don't have too much to say here. I think it's safe to say, obviously, you and I were talking already about how next week's going to be a lot of good stuff to share, just simply because you and I are going to have a nice extended weekend. Both of us have a nice 3-day weekend because of our employer, so that's great. But
Yeah, because we do work from home. We're
yes.
not just hanging out.
Oh, we
Yeah.
were just hanging out. We would have been like, oh, what's up? What's up? We have like a list of games. We
Yeah,
just
exactly.
just demolished, you know.
We're finished Final Fantasy. We're platinum Final Fantasy 7
Oh,
already.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. That'd be easy. No, so like, yeah, we're still working, we're still busy, but we'll have some nice time off, and things are starting to shift around here in Florida. We'll see, but yeah, I've actually went back into DC Universe membership, and because I'm trying to get the most out of it for that, trying to like basically see how much I can watch and read in a matter of a month. And as I told you guys in the last episode, I finished Titans season 1 and 2, and now I'm in the midst of Swamp Thing. I decided to wait to see Doom Patrol since that's supposedly one of the best ones that they have on there. It's so well that they're actually going to move it to HBO Max, their new service, because they want to get more exposure for the show. But so I look forward to watching that. But I'm watching Swamp Thing, and I gotta say, I am disappointed that this show actually is canceled. It's much better than you might anticipate or think.
Interesting.
I'm not saying it's a great show or oh my goodness, it's incredible. But if you just go in going, I know this is a canceled show or whatever, like let's just see what it is. It's good. The horror
Interesting.
element's good. I'm critical of DC and some of the stuff that they've done, and how much focus has been on the wrong things. But with this show, it's called Swamp Thing, and the focus is on the Swamp Thing, and I think that might be a part of what hurt it. And when I say that, it's because not because the content wasn't good, but because the content cost so much to produce. So
Okay.
the Swamp Thing is he stays as the Swamp Thing, throughout the series, which would make sense. But that there carries a heavy load in the production of the cost of the CGI and the makeup and the suit that this guy is wearing as the Swamp Thing. I can only imagine the budget to continue that for every episode because they commit to having him look real, practical throughout the series. And so I was very impressed with that, and I'm very impressed with the build-up. I think that just from the first episode alone, really strong origin story that got me hooked in, and I look forward to finishing it probably this weekend. So yeah, I feel bad that it's canceled. Not that long of a series, but
Interesting.
pretty solid showing.
Interesting. Um, the thing with Swamp Thing for me, right, is it's a super D tier character.
Oh yeah,
It's yeah, I mean it's
yeah.
down there. It's an interesting character, but I don't think it's super popular. With the general even with the general like comic book reading crowd. Even less with people that are accustomed to the movies slash series stuff that DC or even Marvel produces. Joel, have you ever watched the 1990s something series?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because that's basically my point of reference for Swamp Thing is
Sure.
that series because I watched the entire thing when I was a kid, and that series came out in like 91 or something else.
Yeah.
Let's fact check
Fact check
here.
it. Yeah, and that's it, right. The focus on it being like a horror interesting is 1991,
90.
1990. Okay.
90 and 91 season 2, and it was 2 seasons. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Yeah, I remember watching this thing when I was a kid, and it was good. I really liked it
Because
back
you
then.
like horror a little bit, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
It's
I mean,
it's
I'm
it's
not into the gratuitous like body horror stuff,
yeah,
right? But
yeah,
I enjoy my scary movie here and there.
suspense and all that. Yeah,
Suspense, yeah, it's fine. My, you know, uh, what's the I See Dead People movie? Oh, well, that's not really a horror movie. It's more a
yeah.
suspense movie. But
That's a whole argument for another debate. What really is a horror
yeah,
movie?
yeah,
I mean, some people would categorize Jurassic Park as a horror film because it's based off of the fear,
yes.
right? Depends on who you talk to
Yeah.
and what
Well, the dinosaurs are technically monsters. They're not
they
really
are.
dinosaurs if you think about it. But
Exactly.
I mean, I have watched basically the entirety of the Friday the 13th franchise, and back then, Nightmare on Elm Street and all that stuff. But since I got married, because my wife's a chicken, my wife's like a super super chicken. I think the last horror movie that I watched was probably 30 Days of Night. It's that vampire movie that's set in Alaska. It was really good, and that was maybe like 7 years ago. Because my wife just does not watch any horror stuff, which is weird because then she watched the entirety. Like she basically binged Sabrina on Netflix. So it's like, okay, whatever works for you, woman. I don't know. I don't know.
Don't try and figure it out.
I really don't know. So yeah, exactly. Don't yeah, guys, it's like life advice right here. Just don't try to figure it out. Just go with it and that's it. Don't question it, don't figure it out. It's fine. It's fine. Um but yeah, no, I would definitely take a look at it because I know that that 90s something there was a movie.
Yeah.
There was a series and there was a movie. I think the movie, I can't remember if the movie was the basically like sort of a pilot for the show, and then it got made, or if it was the ending to the show. It was either or. But yeah, he's an interesting character. I mean, I would love to check it out, but yeah, I'm not gonna pay for
No, that's
DC.
yeah, the cost of that subscription, man. It needs to go
Yeah,
down. The best thing I can compare it to is when Comic-Con, when they tried to launch their own online subscription, it was not great, but they really tried to launch something interesting. And I remember that their fees, if I remember right, it was $4.99, basically $5 a month, basically for it. And I'm like, you know what? That's how you launch something new that's not that has a fan base, but it's not big enough to like Disney Plus the world. You know, like you need to
yeah,
have something that's fair. And I wish that DC would have done that. I wish that they would have launched with like a $4.99 a month. I think they could have gotten a lot more
yeah. I mean, for
fans
the
on
amount of
board.
content they have, it's probably not. I mean, they
They
have
have
their
all the
movies, right?
comics and all the movies and all that, which is cool. But I just it's not like it's a vast majority, right? It's Justice League
Correct.
and you know
Yeah, which by the way, I watched over the weekend.
you watch it again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fine.
Interesting.
It was fine.
About a month ago, I watched Shazam and Justice League like
Okay.
2 days in a
I
row.
have. I
So
still haven't watched the Sandman.
wow,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah. I
Yeah,
heard
it's
it's
good.
good. Yeah, I know Sonic's out for Reynolds already.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I told my daughter, it's like, hey, look, Sonic, we can watch it over the weekend. Is it Blu-ray? It's like, all right, I got a physical media child here. So
She's
no, but
definitely yours.
yeah. I'm gonna probably um just try again on Saturday. It's like, hey, you really want to watch Sonic? So see what she says.
Nice.
But yeah, Justice League. Yeah. So that was the thing.
The Deathstroke scene at the end, man. I'm a big Deathstroke guy,
Yeah, that
and
was good. That was
I was
good.
such a tease. Like I was
Which
like,
is
oh, I want that.
it's really it's kind of sucks because it just doesn't go. It's not gonna go anywhere.
No, right? It's like you have a whole Legion of Doom set up. I was like, oh
Uh,
no.
no, it's like the end of the Street Fighter movie when Bison
Oh yeah.
pressed the
Yep.
continue button on the when the Street Fighter the Van Damme movie, and the He-Man movie, Masters of the Universe,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Dolph Lundgren. Skeletor comes back at the end and it has a one-liner. And those movies never got sequels. It's just like
Means
kind of
nothing. Oh, that's
stinks.
so
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. It means nothing. Yeah,
How
and
does
it's.
Justice League not get a sequel,
I
dude?
know, dude. I
There
mean, it
the no one
probably
knew who the
will.
Avengers was, but everyone knew who the Justice League. How do you mess
Uh,
that up, man?
I
I can't.
know.
I
I
can't.
know. Yeah, even if
Ugh.
like even I mean, probably not the younger crowd. Well, they do because Cartoon Network has had plenty of like Justice League related stuff. But even to the older
But everyone knows the
fellows like
Trinity:
me,
Superman, Batman, Wonder
yeah,
Woman.
like even to the older guys like me, we still have Super Friends as a reference. It's like, oh, basically it's Super Friends
100%.
the movie,
Yeah.
versus minus the Wonder Twins. So
And ISIS.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, man, cool. Cool. Anything else?
Oh man, that's all I got. It's all I got. It's
Quiet.
interesting.
All right, cool,
But
cool.
we will have a great episode next week.
Oh yeah. We'll start teasing that right now. Um, yeah, I watched Onward.
Oh, I did see that also.
Oh, okay. I liked it. I liked it. It was good.
I
Uh,
thought it was funnier than I expected,
it
actually.
was funny. There's a lot of like nerd references.
Yes.
There's a lot
Yes.
of like D&D and video games and adventure games and
Lord of the
metal and all
Rings.
that. So there's a lot of references, and that made it cool. It was well written, and the twist at the end, the way the movie ended with the whole thing with the person that they were trying, I mean, it's not a spoiler that it's about the dad, right?
Right, right.
But how it actually came up, um and how it basically transpired, it was very touching. It was really good.
It was.
It was good. Not the best Pixar movie, not by a mile, but it was still enjoyable. It was still fun. I didn't know that Brave is like hated on, Joel.
Yes. No, that
It's
movie is has a lot of people who just don't acknowledge it.
I
Yeah. Like Disney
Yeah,
actually promotes it. Disney tries to push it, and the fans are like, nah.
I don't know why, dude. That movie's good. That
I only
movie's
watched it once,
really.
and it reminded me a lot of Brother Bear, bro. Do you
I,
remember Brother
I can
Bear?
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brother Bear came out when I was working at Disney. During my first round at Disney.
Yeah, it
It
reminds me a
was a
lot of
big
that.
flop. Yeah, that movie was made here, right? At the Hollywood Studios.
Sounds right.
I think so. Yeah, it was that Lilo and Stitch,
Oh yeah.
and I think that was it. And they says like it's not working. Got to close the studio. So yeah.
Shut it down.
So yeah, watch Onward. That was pretty good. I haven't watched any more Punisher, but I did go back and wrapped up season 2 of Rebels and
Nice.
started season 3. I watched the first 2 episodes of season 3, um, because I've been wanting to, like, in the mornings before I jump into work. I've been trying to just watch Rebels, then have breakfast and whatnot and jump into work. But this week, it's like I watched Rebels on Monday, and it's like I want to just go play Final Fantasy 7. That's how, and that's basically what I did. Tuesday, and this morning, yesterday I played um, Battlefront because they had the big update on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and the last update. So this is part of our news. Might as well just talk about it now.
Sure.
Um, and they've added the Sand Trooper skin, basically, and they added both Sand Troopers. They added the New Hope Sand Trooper in the desert, basically in Tatooine, and they added the Scarif Sand Troopers.
Yes.
They've added a Scarif map, which I have not played yet,
Me either.
because I've been playing Team Deathmatch. But yesterday was weird. Again, I started in a room that was packed. Then the next match was like 3 players, and then within the first 5 minutes, it actually got full. And then the next match, it was just me. I was like waiting for players. I was like, why this thing is not pairing with players? So I left that one and jumped back into 2 full games, and called it a morning there. But yeah, I mean, just check it out. The Sand Trooper. You can actually use the skin on the officer skin on the Imperial officer, so you can just get rid of the generic dude and have an actual trooper as an officer. They did that wow, man, I want to say over a year ago with the clone troopers when they've added the like the Commander Cody and all this guys skins.
I also like some of their updates to cinematic views of characters, right? So you have like Ray Skywalker now.
Yeah, they've
You've
added
got
Rey
they had
Skywalker with a yellow lightsaber.
They added they
Palpy.
Maul, but with his look from Clone Wars
Yep.
season 7. They
That
got
it. Yeah, that it, episode 9. Palpatine.
Palpatine. Yep.
Um,
Was it like Emperor Eternal or something, or Sith
something
Eternal
like
they
that.
call it? Yeah.
Yeah. And a new Kylo Ren, I think.
Yes, Kylo Ren with his mask put together, whatever.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So they have that. Yeah, they added a few things. Um, and that's it. That's the end of Battlefront 2.
that's all we
We're not
got.
gonna get. Yeah, that's what we got. We're not gonna get any more updates. Which there's there. I think it had a great run.
Same.
It's still a very underappreciated game. I think the game's fantastic and very much worth the $6 that is going for on Origin
I
right
know
now.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's on PSN right now for like 12 on the sale that's going
Still a
on.
good deal.
Yeah. Oh, I bought. Speaking of PSN, got Streets of Rage 4. I said it was gonna be a day one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it came out this morning, but I
Oh
haven't played it. But
man,
I did get it. Yeah. So I'm gonna play that next week.
very good.
Um, yeah, man. And then PC stuff. All right, let's talk a little bit about this thing
Tell
because
me about this.
okay. So last we spoke, I turned this thing on, but I really haven't really tested graphics or anything, right? I had purchased a Radeon RX 560 with only 2 gigs on it, and with that card, I didn't have like a point of reference, right? It's like, okay, let's try PC graphics. This is the first actual PC build that I've done since college, and back then I didn't even have a video card, you know. So let's go ahead and check this thing out. So I downloaded the demo for RE2 that's on Steam, and you just used the recommended settings, and I was able to run the game on medium settings without ambient occlusion and I think it was like the skin transparencies. Without those two options, basically medium on everything and low on shadows, I was able to run it at like 55 frames, which was not. It was definitely playable because I think I texted you and I told you it's like, okay, so this looks like the
Yeah.
PS4 version with worse shadows, basically, and it runs about the same. Because I mean, I wasn't getting constant 55. I was getting between 55 and like 36. So it was like in between there, right? Um, but it was running okay. I was like, okay, this is fine, whatever. I texted a friend of mine, and he's like, "Yo, I had a, you should have let me know because I have a 580 with 8 gigs, just sitting there not doing anything, and I'll sell it to you for cheap." So it's like, okay, so I can still do a return on Newegg and send this stuff back, get my money back, at
Oh, you're
least
so
part of it,
fortunate, man.
and got that card. So I went and got that card
Amazing.
for my friend, dude, and I installed it last night. and, and I was so excited that when I either texted you or sent you. I
Oh
texted
yeah.
you because I was so excited when I was working on it, and I was like, dude, I can run RE2 with high on everything, even shadows and ambient occlusion on and anti-aliasing, everything turned on,
You
and
went
texture,
max.
everything on high, right? um at 75 frames a second, and it was like steady 7. It was like, dude, so the monitor that I have has FreeSync, and it's a 75 hertz monitor. So I told you, it's like, yo, this looks substantially better than the PS4 version.
It's
um
crazy.
PS4 version still looks very good because the HDR, believe it or not, actually hides a lot of the defects that you would see around. Um, so I would say between a PS4, a standard PS4, and an entry level card like that 560 that I got, the PS4 actually, in my opinion, still looks better. It doesn't run as good, but it still looks better. But then when you actually compare it with an actual more powerful graphics card, then yeah, it's a substantial difference.
It's crazy.
And I was tinkering around with that because the card was overclocked, so I had to tone it down. It was bugging, so the game kept crashing, and then I had to just tone it back a little bit. And yeah, I haven't touched my CPU at all because I'm running stuck cooler on that Ryzen 5, and I don't wanna overdo it. So but yeah, man, it's been an interesting experience. I'm not sold yet, Joe, on the whole PC master race thing, just because of so
Oh,
many problems and so many trial and error and all this stuff. Right? It's like when you get it right, it's really gratifying. But I mean, it doesn't beat just just sitting on your couch, pressing a button, and everything just freaking works. It just doesn't beat that. I mean, not yet. We'll see a couple of months from now. I still don't have any LEDs or RGB or anything on it. I'm tempted to get new fans, but we'll see. It's performing well right now, so I'm not too excited about going out of my way to do that. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting week. Joe, there's a little bit of beef out there between your one of your favorite places of relaxation, I would call AMC
yeah,
and Universal, man.
yeah.
Um, we all know that Universal decided to release two movies, right? It was Bloodshot and Trolls that got
Uh,
released
I'm
directly to
I'm
on
not sure
demand.
if Bloodshot was a part of Universal. I think so. Sounds right. But I know for sure the monsters, the Invisible Man and Trolls. I
And
know those
Trolls.
two were both for sure. But potentially also Bloodshot. That makes sense. Yeah, they both came out on video on demand.
Yeah. And then AMC, they were not very excited with that announcement, and just this week said that they may just go ahead and block Universal from being on their movie theaters, which I think is a stupid move. I'll let you talk, but I think it's really stupid because if you're about to go file for bankruptcy, you're not really in a position of say, "Yo, I don't want you in my house anymore." It's a weird beef that they have going on, in my opinion.
So AMC being the biggest, arguably the biggest theater chain there is, they also have pullouts internationally as well, and having out in the Middle East and other areas, AMC theaters. Um, this really comes to me more so as a move to protect the longevity of theaters, because basically the understanding is you know, Universal puts out these movies for PVOD, paid video on demand. Um, they had no choice to do that because theaters were shut down, obviously due to what's going on in the world, the health crisis, and they have to put it out this way just to get money for the film, and they see that it actually did much better than originally expected. At first there was some reports that it was really doing really bad, that it wasn't performing that well, but it comes to find out that no, they actually did sell quite a bit. Still didn't make the kind of money that Trolls 1 did, but still made money for them,
Yeah,
enough to make them stop and say, hold on a second, is this the future of cinema? Watching videos at home, watching movies at home. So basically, Universal's logic is like, look, we still want to put movies in the movie theater, but we want to make this an additional option for people who don't want to go out to the movies, where they can just pay this $20 or whatever and watch this brand new movie at the same time in their home. Whether they don't want to leave their home, they can watch it in theater on a big screen, or they can watch it at their home on the small screen, and we're still making money off of it.
yeah,
Here's the thing about that: if you do that, I think the concern from AMC is people will start to say, well, why do I need to go to the movie theater? If I'm going to spend $10 per person, not including my popcorn, if you just have a family, let's just say it's, dad, mom, and the kid, just a family of three, right? You're still, then you add in like the popcorn or whatever, you're spent way more money than you would if you just watched it on demand at home. So people, would look
and
at their
four
wallets
four or
and
five
say,
times the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could buy the popcorn for cheap at the supermarket and make it at home.
Yeah, whatever you have
You
in your
know.
house, or yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's giving people an additional option, which is innovative, but it's hurting the way things have been traditionally with the movie theater model, where they survive off people coming in buying concessions. That's really where they make their money.
Really. Yep.
So like I see so AMC is trying to pull a power move here by saying if we block you guys from playing this stuff in the movie theater, like hopefully this will send ripple effects to the point that you'll say, okay, hold on. Maybe we shouldn't do this on demand thing, or do it at least the way that it is. And so far, AMC announced it first, and then Regal now is joining in with them since yesterday. And they're saying that we also will not be playing Universal films. I think you're going to start to see some other theaters kind of join together and say, like, this is not a good look. We need people to come in and watch the movies in our theaters first, and then you can have them in your home. So that's kind of my hope, right? Like, my hope would be that at some point, the Universal, studio heads kind of look at this and say, let's renegotiate, let's talk, and let's have this where maybe for the first 2 weeks or first weekend it's exclusive in theaters, and then the week after that it's in theaters and on demand, right? Like
Yeah.
a see it more, because that's the whole point about theaters, is see it first. And then the other thing that people have to also think about is, I think the mindset behind the AMC side or the Regal side, the theater chain side, is the reason why this is a power move for them is that if they don't play their movies, this might affect the movie making audience, the movie making group. So like if you're a director trying to make a movie and then you find out this movie's only going to be shown at home, it's not going to be shown on the big screen, because simply because the theaters are blocking it and saying we're not going to play this movie because of this option, they might actually lose opportunities to have talent or other people want to be a part of it. I'm not saying that the smaller screen is less than by any means, but I'm just saying there are certain films that you think about, the larger scale things that people want to do that's considered to be blockbusters, and saying, wait, I'm going to lose money. I mean, it just
Yeah.
comes down to money at the end of the day. I know I can make more money if it plays in a movie theater and then have it at home. So it's way more complicated than it may seem. There's many cases surrounding this. It's not as easy as, yeah, you should, no, you shouldn't. But I definitely feel like someone's going to budge at some point. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that it's a compromise for both, but at some point, either AMC is going to say, well, well, never mind that, we need the money, we'll put it in our theater. Or at the other point, Universal is going to say, we don't like the look of this, we don't like the PR of this, it looks like we're trying to kill the theaters, and we're going to
Yeah.
make a deal of some kind. I don't
Yeah.
know.
AMC is not going to have Universal movies until the next Fast and the Furious, where they bring in like $1 billion. And I mean, they're going to be forced to. I was like, yo, we're
That's the
missing.
movies that they needed. Yeah,
Yeah,
the big ones.
exactly. So, you know, actual Universal, in my opinion, if you ask me, Joe, Universal's actually doing them a favor by delaying these movies until things, sort of normalize, I
Absolutely.
guess. And, you know, and they should just take that, right? It's just that it's hard, right? It's hard for AMC because they don't have a revenue stream right now, and
No,
they don't have cash flow, and that's a big problem, right? And I do feel for the people that got laid off and been furloughed
it's
and all
bad.
this, but the truth of the matter is that it, they cannot, they're not making money, right? um you still have to pay, whatever money in the bank is right at the moment. They still have to pay suppliers, they still have to pay studios, they still have to pay the Coca-Cola and all these people that provide the concessions because they basically most of this stuff, like if you've been in retail business, you know that all this like Coke products and all this stuff, it's normally sent on credit, so they still need to pay back that money.
Exactly.
um I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about, you know, AMC or Regal or any other movie theater chain for that matter. But it's hard, and just trying to just start a beef at this point, it's kind of pointless, right? Like,
It's a battle that I'm not sure that they can win, but we'll see. I feel like, to your point, Obed, like they're really struggling, like they're really having a hard time, and so the picture I keep painting is like their backs are against the wall, they're being crowded, and they're just fighting for their lives. Like that's what the attitude that they're in right now. They're fighting anything coming their
Yeah,
way.
I think.
And
Yeah,
and for AMC, they've been used to being in control in some ways. And I'm not trying to crack
yeah,
down on them. Look, I like going to their movie theaters. I like what they have, some of the things they have to offer. I think they're one of the better theater chains out there. But like, listen, the stories behind the movie pass, how they were treated, people who had movie pass, they basically kind of blacklisted those people. I mean, there's the way that they've have stories about their A list, and there's a couple different things you can look into. The independent movie space, the lawsuit between the Cobb movie theaters chain and them. I mean, they've AMC's been used to being in control and making the big boy move and forcing everyone else to move.
yeah,
And I'm not so sure that's gonna work here.
yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think what they're doing is basically they're just firing warning shots at this point. It's I think they just don't want like day one streaming on new releases to be
Yeah.
necessarily the norm, and I think that's the big problem here. So we'll see. I don't foresee AMC opening for at least a couple more months, maybe if that. Um, we
Obed,
we
would
shall see.
you do video on demand over the movie theater for Universal Films if that was an option? Like say Godzilla or something, like there's like some kind of crossover, something
See,
there.
Godzilla, it's
You see, I got to see the, if I can't see in the theater, well, I'm just gonna wait, or
it's a here's the thing, right? The going to the movies is different for everyone. I can go to a movie where I'll spend $10 on myself, or I can spend 30 on my family, right? Plus concessions. If I go by myself, I'm not buying anything. I'll just drink water
exactly.
from the water fountain, and that's it. So, but if I go to with the family, then it's popcorn, soda, whatever it gets stacked on. Um, I and then buying a movie on demand, like for example, Trolls, you could buy you're going to buy for 25 or rent for 20. That was the model that they released. Um, I don't, I wouldn't like to pay $25 for a digital movie, and I know that sounds kind of weird in 2020, but I'm a physical media guy. I would rather wait for an official release, and I would get that if I would be interested in the movie. Um, if it's a movie that I really wanted to see, say for example, Star Wars.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, let's take the limits off of
Like,
what studio,
yeah,
and you can watch. Let's just say there's also a time thing, right? You can watch it
hmm
first at home before you can even watch it in the theater. Midnight comes and you can do it online versus watching at
I mean,
6
I'm not gonna
p.m.
rent it at
opening.
midnight, but
No, but I'm just saying, like
I need to
the
have my surround
options
sound.
begin to change. Like in theory,
Absolutely,
you can watch it before you can in a movie theater for a premiere day.
absolutely. So, if you would go to an extreme case, say again Star Wars or any Marvel movie that I'm actually looking forward to, um, sure, I'll do it. I would probably not if it's again the same model, 25 to buy, 20 to rent. I'll buy it because $5. Come on, you could keep the movie forever, technically.
Well, in theory, the idea is that you would not be able to buy it still. You'd only have it on demand for that day. At least as it's been presented right now. But if they do have the option to buy day one, then yeah, that definitely changes the game a lot more because then
Let
you
me double
probably would have even way more
yeah.
people
Let me double
taking
check
advantage
on
for
that.
sure. Yeah.
World tour price.
Uh-oh. Open search history trolls too.
Trolls 2. Yeah. Rent 48-hour rental price of 19.99.
Yeah.
Man, where did I read 25 to buy?
I
It
can
may,
see
it
that
may it may be another movie. It may not be Trolls. It may be another movie.
And I could see that becoming an option selectively for
Yeah.
sure. But assuming that, that of course if that became a more wide range thing of having the option to buy, my gosh, like I think
Yeah.
I think people would go to the theaters and buy it right there and then.
Yeah, and it's I don't know because Yeah, I don't know. I still
Complicated.
don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Right? If it's a rental, right, and I have the option to just rent it and then I'll buy it on Blu-ray whenever it comes out, then maybe. If it's a movie that I'm looking forward to, I would probably do that. If it's a movie that I can just wait it out, I'll just wait it out. Wait for the $6 rental instead of 20. So
That's true.
yeah, that's well, we'll see what happens, man. It's gonna be an interesting. I'd say next 4 weeks are gonna be really interesting, at least here in Florida, because things are. I mean, they want to push, you know, stuff to go back to normal
We're the
next
guinea
week.
pigs. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We're
The
the guinea
world will be
pigs.
watching us.
Yeah. All right, the Stranding. It's like
Nice, nice.
it's just gonna be delivery people out there. But yeah, moving on. We do have a bunch of gaming news. We've already touched on the Battlefront stuff, but speaking of streaming, Joel, May the 4th is on Monday, so
That's right. May the
Star
fourth
Wars
be with
Day
you.
is this coming Monday, and we have a couple of interesting announcements, and interestingly timed. And we'll talk about some of the stuff that we talked about last week. They basically announced that there are three pieces of media that are dropping into Disney Plus this coming Star Wars Day, and we are getting a Mandalorian documentary on making off of the Mandalorian. We are getting the final episode of Clone Wars instead of Friday. We are getting that on Mondays. So if you want to hear our impressions on both tomorrow's episode and this last episode next week, stay tuned. And Rise of Skywalker drops in on May the 4th as well. So I think pretty big. It's the first time that you can actually watch all Star Wars movies in the same place finally, and it's exciting. And it's exciting that they released this news very timely, because people just talked like stopped talking about the topic that we talked about last week. Um, I did hear an update on that, Joe, this morning actually. Um, well, and of course we're talking about the quote unquote new series that's coming, new Star Wars series that's coming to Disney Plus. Um, yeah, allegedly they're just gonna try and bury it, and it's gonna be like the like the Game of Thrones guys trilogy that sort of like fades away and no one remembers that it was gonna be a thing. And so I heard that they're hoping to do that. So exciting news. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're gonna actually watch all 10 Star Wars films on the same place, and the entirety of the Clone Wars, which is a pretty good show. You should watch it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that was the big news that came out was the Rise of Skywalker, coming into Disney Plus on May the 4th, and essentially being that you literally have the entire Skywalker saga collection in one place, right? Like
Blasphemy,
digitally,
Joel. How dare you?
right? Oh
Man,
gosh.
man.
He's not Skywalker.
He stole his lightsaber, and then he steals his name, and he steals his old house in Tatooine. How dare he?
How dare she?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude, that was spot on.
Yeah, clip
That
it.
is so true. Man, babies.
Yeah, babies.
No, I 100% agree. And that was the big news was the Skywalker saga coming to Disney Plus. I won't get that out of my head now. It's gonna be amazing.
Palpatine saga.
so so that was a big one. But no, the thing was because the Mandalorian documentary and the final Clone Wars episode, that was not formally announced. This is how we talked about last week of the difference between like announcement and like news, right? Like it was
Yeah.
leaked as news beforehand that was coming. Those two things that they were gonna have the Clone Wars episode come out early and the of course, the Mandalorian Disney Gallery was going to be a new documentary series, and first it's going to be on the Mandalorian for season 1, starting on May the 4th. But we didn't know about the Rise of Skywalker coming. They kept that under lock and key. Maybe that was all part of the plan. Maybe it wasn't, and maybe that was kind of brought in. But the timing of it has to make it interesting, considering that just a week before, people are like, giving me this
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
I definitely, though, could see them burying it simply for the fact of, like you said, it's not formally announced. It's not something that, like, it started to come out in the media, started to come out from all these places. Hey, they're working on this thing with this person. And if it did catch them by surprise, I told you something's going to happen. Like, there's no, that something like that doesn't just, sure, green light, let it be, let it happen. You know, it's unfortunate we didn't know, but it's great. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if Disney loves you, I mean, they could think they're the greatest person ever, but you don't do
Yeah.
that to Disney.
I
That's
don't.
not the way they do things. So
Yeah.
there's always a price to be paid, right? On that standpoint, that means that you're deading this project and maybe more things to come. I still think that now we're getting to that place where, you know, by the end of this year, there's probably going to be some kind of shakeup. Will Star Wars Celebration happen this year? That's a big question mark. And if it does happen, you know, will that be the place for that kind of an announcement? Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, I could see that being the place for it. August is when that comes about, that Star Wars Celebration, and you know, even if it is online based only, maybe they'll kind of do an online presentation. So that way, you know, I always think about it, man. Like, Kathleen Kennedy risks a whole lot of boos when she comes out at
Yeah.
Star Wars Celebration. Like, I'm shocked that she doesn't get heckled a boo when she comes out. At, yeah. And I mean, that's like, you know, we talk about the man babies. They're very loud online. I guess they're very quiet in person. I don't know.
Oh,
But,
Joe,
but
shots fired, dude. Yeah, I mean,
I watch those presentations and I'm like, man,
I don't hear
buddy,
any
I
boos.
don't
Yeah,
know. They just
yeah.
sit there and sit there in quiet disgust, I guess. I don't know.
Quite disgusted.
I mean,
Like that.
I would rather that, like, let the
Yeah,
presentation go on
yeah.
than
Seriously.
I'm not encouraging people to go boo. I'm just saying, like, I'm actually been surprised that hasn't happened, and it, you know, if Kathleen can maybe do an online presentation or something for this next celebration, that might spare them some more hardship, because I think people were upset before, and it was kind of very divisive is the wording we'd use when we talk about the Last Jedi and whatever, right? Very divisive. For some people are like, it's fine. Other people are like, you're terrible, right? But I think after Rise of Skywalker and some of the things that have come about her kind of saying, we're not going to go with this and we're going to go with that,
And this
that
thing and the stories
caused people to
behind.
lose faith,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, I think now you have more people on the side of we're unhappy than those that are happy.
I think so too. Again, and you know, you and I like the Rise of Skywalker. We have,
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect, no, but it's enjoyable. It's still fun. You know, it's still a fun movie. Again, even Last Jedi. Come on, I
I
watched
got
it
the poster
recently. It's
behind
still
me.
pretty
You've got the
good.
poster behind you.
Yeah, man. Seriously. Um, the thing here being that I think people in general, or you know, the fandom in general, not necessarily just the vocal man baby crowd. I think the because we don't consider ourselves fan babies, right? But we're actually now being vocal against some of the choices that have been made at Lucasfilm, and where its direction is. So I am just glad that this thing is hopefully buried and he stays there and we don't have to talk about it again. That'll be really exciting. So
I agree.
yeah. Um, Joe, gaming news, and you, sir, I'm assuming is very excited about one Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
Yeah,
because we knew this was coming this year,
we did.
but we didn't know in which direction they were going. But this is you right now, Joel. So go ahead, dude. First impressions of that trailer.
Okay, so I like it. I like that they have brought together the way they brought together the Templars into this, because that was one of my big questions. Like, how are you gonna bring the and they always have to get creative with it, right? Like how you bring the Templars into Egypt, right? With like the
Yeah.
like there's just certain parts that you're like stretching, but we still love it, right? We talk about the love to hate and hate to love, right? I still love it no matter how crazy it gets. Um, yeah, so I like the way that they tied in when you see the cinematic between, the Vikings trying to take over some of the English land, owned English land, and how that kind of affects the war between the Templars and the Vikings, and it just so happens that one of the Vikings is an assassin, of course, classic. I love the reveal in the trailer.
I
I think
called
that's
it. I was like,
fantastic.
I bet that they're gonna like pan away or something, and you'll hear the, and that's exactly what it was. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
it was awesome.
That
Yeah, it
was
was
awesome.
good. It was uh, very violent, Joel.
I
It was
suspected that
pretty
for
gruesome.
Vikings,
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome because you can see, like Assassin's Creed, of course, is it is a violent
it
series, but
is
it's not like super gory, right? But this one was like pretty intense, man. It's pretty intense. Um,
absolutely.
I really liked it. It gave me vibes of Senua of
Oh yeah,
Hellblade. Gave me some vibes of that. Some God of War, of course, with the axes and all that. And the new God of War being uh, a sort of a Viking themed thing, right? So it gave me a little vibe of those two. One thing that was interesting to me, Joel, is that on the end of the trailer where it had the buzzwords coming in,
yes.
Conquer was one of them. So will you be like expanding and conquering areas?
I'm pretty sure 'cause that's what they keep saying. Like they're like voyaging, like you're a Viking that's voyaging, and the Templars don't like that you're trying to take some land that belongs to them, and probably other agendas that are to be revealed in the story. I'm sure.
Yeah. So that was cool. Like if
Yeah,
it's, you got to build your base and make sure that, you don't get invaded and you have like
yeah.
crowd management, sort of like Metal Gear Solid 5, right? But instead of having just one base, you have different pieces of land that you can actually have.
Age of Empires or something. Um,
Not
yeah,
not that deep, but
yeah,
sure.
they're building everything.
Yeah.
Gosh, I used to play that game a lot.
And it
Uh,
looks like they're gonna have ships back.
they are. So there's
Yeah,
a few
yeah,
things that are confirmed. One of the things is naval warfare is back for sure.
yeah.
They also confirmed that you're gonna have some similar mini games, kind of like to like you had in both AC3 and AC4, where it's gonna be very like classic Norse. You're gonna have some drinking games, some gambling mini games. You're also gonna have the ability for the main character Ivor. He's going to be, or excuse me, rather, you'll have the option of either playing as male or female version of Evor,
Oh, okay.
with the main story. So that's very like a
That's
hot topic for people right now. A lot of people are like okay with it, but then there's a lot of people
It's
that are like,
fine.
why? So
Stop it.
that
It's
this
fine.
I'm
Whatever.
trying to remember. Was
It's a
it
video
Battlefield? Was it
game.
Battlefield? I'm trying to remember
It
which
was
which
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, they had the
The
female
World War
on the cover,
II.
and they're like, "No women
Yeah.
fought in the war, and what are you doing?" So that's what they try and say. The same thing here, right? So some of these guys are like, "No female Viking led a voyage or whatever."
It's alternative history. Who
Nobody
cares?
cares.
Yeah.
Nobody, and you have the option. They're not forcing you to only play as her. You don't
Yeah,
want to play as her. You
exactly.
can play as the dude.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're
Yeah,
into dudes, then you go ahead and play as the dude. It's fine. We don't
right.
discriminate. Fine. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
whatever. Like usually when you know what, Jill, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Sure.
If in most games that I'm given the option, I usually pick the woman to play as.
I understand that. I when they
It's
started
it's
getting into that with
different and it's cool. Whatever.
it's different. It's cool. I remember when they started getting to that option a little bit with Syndicate when they had the option between Evie and Jacob.
Yeah.
And I remember when I would play as Jacob, I was like, it's cool. But when I had the option to be Evie, like I was like, oh, she's great. Like I would rather play her character because she's awesome and her combat's better, and I had
Yeah.
like valid reasons behind it. So I mean, this the case again. Like you're not being forced to do it. I don't understand. man babies chillax. Like it's
Yeah.
not about having an authentic history experience. It's just it's a
Exactly.
game.
It's a game. Let it go. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah.
You
So
have
it
the
looks it looks good.
you have the option also to have two weapons at the same time, drawn at the same time, dual weapon combat.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. We haven't
Four
seen
had that,
that.
right? Because I think you
N-
could dual wield on four
I don't
on
remember
dual
you ever being
swords.
able to
I don't
do that.
remember.
But it had the idea of having like a Viking with like an axe and like a sword or like whatever. That's gonna
Axe
be
and
awesome,
shield,
dude.
man.
Just
Yeah.
going two at the same. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It looks real good. Of course, this game is next gen.
Yes.
It's announced that it's gonna be out for the Xbox Series X and PS5. And it will be cross gen. So kind of like what Black Flag was.
Yes.
Black Flag was available on PS4, Xbox One, and
And it reminds me a
also
lot of Black
PS3.
Flag.
Sorry, what?
It reminds me a lot of Black Flag in
It
general,
does. It
anyway. So they
does.
kind of pulled the safe route
Yes.
there.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea that they took the year off last year
Yeah.
and started to build something bigger like this. This could definitely be a showpiece for next gen,
Hmm.
and it's like here's why you need a Series X. Look at how crazy this looks and how fast it loads. Look at the Xbox One; it can barely run. So you can get one of those videos, right?
Oh man.
Making the pitch. It's like here's what you need next gen. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited, dude. It looks good. It looks good. And Assassin's Creed is something that it always catches my attention, especially the last two, because I heard those were really
Yes. The
good.
last two were much better.
And I played Black Flag and I really enjoyed it. Um, but this one really catches my attention because it looks gritty, and I know that Syndicate was gritty too, but this looks like grounded and
Yeah.
like very like rough, and it's like I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see
Same.
more about it for sure. Um, Joe, like we mentioned when we were talking Battlefront, the last piece of DLC that came out is last Tuesday, Battle on Scarif, along with some other skins for Battlefront 2. That is the final update for Star Wars Battlefront 2. So Battlefront 2 is done, and DICE is moving their efforts into the next Battlefield that's going to be coming out next year. So no Battlefront 2 updates, no new Battlefront this year, no new Battlefield this year, but you'll get a new Battlefield next year.
2020 is just taking off, man.
Yeah. It's might as well. I know that there's Call of Duty's already around, so they're gonna more than likely release something this year, even if it's later during the year.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. But yeah, man, Battlefield's coming back. I mean, Battlefield's always been a strong franchise. I remember playing 3 quite a lot on PS3, and then I moved to the Battlefront stuff when Dice actually released that. But yeah, man, I mean, it looks like it's like what you said. 2020 is gonna be delayed, and then we'll see stuff coming in next year.
Yeah, 2020 is taking a nap. See you guys next year. No, I mean,
We got
like,
aliens now.
I know,
Do you
dude.
notice that? Do you
I was
notice that one
watching.
of those looked like the Slave One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boba.
It's great.
Um, no, I mean, like, I definitely think it's the smart thing to just go ahead and not try and crank out quickly a Battlefront 3 or to undo the next Battlefield this year. Yes, like yes, next gen is going to be a thing, so you usually those things come out around the same time. It would end up being cross gen anyways. But what does that mean for next gen, Obed? Like, does that mean that if they're taking all this time off and then it's going to come out into the following year, does that mean that you start just instantly going exclusive, or do you still try and bridge the gap even in the first year of a new console? It's not like you're within the first few months you've already got this thing out for a significant amount of time on the
See,
market.
it because of the architecture. If this thing runs okay on the old hardware, maybe they'll just release it. Because I mean, they're not gonna miss on
money. Yeah.
140 million PS4s and plus Xbox Ones that are out there.
Yeah.
The potential buyers. So I think they at least we're probably gonna see next gen cross gen stuff up until next year. I think now 2022, that's when next gen's probably gonna kick in full, because that's when we think Xbox is gonna start releasing their
Exclusives.
exclusive stuff with the new studios. Some of the Sony stuff may be done. I mean, I right now I foresee Spider-Man to get delayed up until 2020, 2022. They're saying next year. I think it's gonna get delayed. They may come out next year and say, "Yo, here it is," and it's ready, right?
Yeah.
But I doubt it. I think the next 2 years, um, I think 2022, at least the beginning of 2022, that's when it's probably going to be worth it to get a one of the new consoles, because that's when it already has a library. We've been through the first batch of defects and all this stuff, right? So that's probably when it's probably going to be safe to make the investment. So maybe I'll hold now that now that I have a PC that that
Oh,
basically has the same graphics power as an Xbox One X, I can probably hold off until that date. Um, so I'll probably do that. Yeah.
do you still think PlayStation will have just one console at launch, or two different versions?
Oh no, they're having one.
Yeah.
They're having one. Um, that used to be a thing. I don't based on the Mark Cerny stuff and how um
It wouldn't surprise you with like that. This so
it
late,
it
like
wouldn't shock me, but I don't think so. And uh, I don't think so because of when Mark Cerny was doing his talk, um, he was referring to like they're going into some proprietary stuff with the CPU and the memory and the sound chip and all this stuff. So that when I was listening to Mark Cerny explain all this stuff, it didn't ring me as oh, we're gonna have two. Xbox from the beginning we've known, right, that they have two projects,
yes,
and probably next week we'll see what the other thing is,
right.
and we could talk about it. So yeah.
Big
By the
episode
way,
coming
Xbox,
next week.
yeah, Microsoft has a showcase next Thursday, so we'll definitely give you the details on that. But yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll find out next week. Um, you know, and yeah, that was part of the news. Xbox is going to have a thing next Thursday. So it's going to be an inside Xbox. It's going to be pretty early in the morning, so we'll probably catch it live.
Yes.
And it looks like it's the same time that I actually jump into work, so it's like perfect timing. I can just start streaming it in the background while I do stuff. And we'll see. Because Xbox. We'll see. Um, Joe, two big things that got announced this week. One, I mean, basically two delays that got reconfirmed this week. We talked about how the Last of Us 2 was gonna be delayed. They announced it was announced
Yes.
till TBD. So they just announced that the release date is going to be June 19th. And then Ghost of Tsushima that was actually going to come in around that date got pushed to July a month, which is it's fine. It looks like
That's
the
not
game is
bad.
no, that's not bad at all. So yeah, so June 19th for The Last of Us 2, July 17th for Ghost of Tsushima. It is a PlayStation summer. So yeah,
Yeah, exclusives.
exclusive.
The Last of Us, dude. Did you? I'm sure you've seen this already about the 100 gig to download the game, and it's gonna be 2 discs.
It's like Final Fantasy 7, dude.
Yeah, that
Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy
7
7,
is
Red
two
Dead
discs.
Redemption, like
Yep.
that's crazy,
It
dude.
Final Fantasy 7, the install is 86 gigs. But I went back and checked. It's like I think 15 is bigger than this. And 15, I have all the DLC for
Sure.
15, and everything together with the DLC is 120 gigs.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yo, this is not. I actually ended up. I have a 2 terabyte hard drive on my
Yes. Yes.
PS4, and I had 1.2 terabytes. I was like, ooh,
It's eating
I
away.
actually passed a terabyte. I didn't even notice it. Um, let's go ahead and delete Arkham Knight. I don't think I'm gonna play that again. It was like 60, 75 gigs or something like that. Yeah, I ended up removing that. Removed the old Battlefront, the the first Battlefront.
I'm
The Persona 5 I removed because I was hoping to get Royal, but we'll see. We'll see. I may end up getting it. But yeah, man. Yeah, Final
Last of
Fantasy,
Us
man.
2 is gonna be big.
It took like 40 minutes for the install. It took a while, dude. Was it that long? Nah, it was like a half hour.
Load
Yeah, it was like a
times.
half hour. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. So it's basically it has an install disc and a play disc. Yeah, and yeah, man. I mean, there's leaks out there.
Yeah.
Apparently, a disgruntled employee, but now they cannot either confirm nor deny that this person may or may not have been an employee. So they're saying that this may have been someone that actually captured the information and said that it was a disgruntled employee and
Yeah.
saying they're not paying me, we're being furloughed. And Naughty Dog said it's like, no, we haven't furloughed anyone, so you're full of crap. And
Ooh.
now it's like, oh man. But yeah, I mean, spoilers are out there. I'm not looking for them. I'm not gonna even tag this video as The Last of Us 2, just because I don't want people to click in and expect something else. So, yes. Moving on, the last piece of news that I have here, Joel, is that Nintendo is delaying their E3 showcase due to the work at home orders that they have
Yeah.
throughout the company. So this was basically announced late today that Nintendo is going to have to push their presentation to a later date. This was the presentation that apparently they're gonna reveal that all those Mario games are coming out because of the 35th anniversary of Mario. It was basically like, what was it, 64, Sunshine, and Galaxies. I think that was what they were gonna release. Um, so yeah, they're gonna have to push back the announcement for those guys. We will see. They have not said exactly when the presentation will take place, but more than likely, it's probably going to be sometime in July. I'm sure they can whip up a video once they come in back into the office. So, yeah, that is the last bit of news I have. I have no breaking news. So, Mr. Joe, if you don't have anything else, let's wrap it up.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch or listen to No Load Time. Of course, we want to encourage you to subscribe to the show. You subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can also subscribe to our podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Also, want to encourage you guys to stay connected via our social media. Go ahead and follow us at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, want to invite you guys to send in emails to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Noloadtime@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you guys. We love hearing your feedback, questions, comments is always welcomed. And this will not be The Last of Us. You will see No Load Time
Oh,
coming next week.
nope.
We're continuing to survive the apocalypse, Obed. And yeah, man. I mean, we've got a great Star Wars episode coming next week. I mean,
Next week.
there's going to be, of course, some gaming news and updates. Of course, the Microsoft Xbox information that comes out. We'll be talking heavily about that. But there'll be plenty of stuff from May the 4th that we'll have to cover. So, of course, guys, we'll see you then, and may the force be with you.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you again next time.